Hey, it's Bruce Hill, New Skills Menu, driving revenue, improving retention through personal and professional development. I believe one new skill will change your life. You'll hear me say that a lot. Come along with me and I'm just gonna move the screen over here. Write my next book with me. This has been a really great exercise to be able to talk out the ideas and share with you as I write it. So what I'm doing is twofold. I want to write a book, a business development book, not a pure sales training, but the emphasis is going to be on increasing revenue and improving retention. That's the goal. If you read the book, you implement what you read, right? Don't just turn the pages, but execute. This is the outcome. That's it. And so who it's for is business leaders and startup founders. Now, if it's a publicly traded company, these principles can be very useful in your strategy of planning. The reason I'm targeting these folks is because they're lean, more innovative. They have to be a little bit more creative and success. That's something larger companies can learn from, but I've also noticed that once a company gets too large, they tend to be very, very risk averse to the point where they avoid innovating new ideas. So if you want to innovate new ideas, great, let's talk. But that's where I really target, that solopreneur. I love speakers and coaches. Professional service businesses are always a great fit. Who else? Who else? Who else? That's those frontline managers, right? The ones that have outbound team or account executives, and then up the chain of VP and director level op managers, because they say, okay, is what we're doing getting us to where we're going, right? So if you want to learn a little bit more about how this all works, you want to see the video called the 4P framework, right? So just look for that one, or it might be called the 4P sales strategy framework. This video is about asking better questions. The whole book hinges on being able to ask better questions. So how do we do that? First of all, it seems silly, but let's set some definitions. Let's set some definitions. Define questions, okay? The sentence worded or expressed so as to elicit information, right? Now, this is important. It's a sentence worded or expressed as to elicit information. So one of my favorite questions is tell me more. That doesn't technically end with a question mark, right? But it does elicit information. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a question. And there's two types of questions. Open-ended. I did a little course on this. I got to see if I can find the slides for you guys. Open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. Now, I taught this to a group of mental health professionals. Many of them were therapists. They were really good at using questions. And so what I had to teach them was how to apply those same question skills, yes, it's a skill, to their business. Right? How to apply it to their strategy, to their problem solving, to their creative thinking, to their critical thinking. And that actually tended to be a very fruitful exercise for them. If you start your sentence with who, what, where, when, why, or how, it's probably an open-ended question. Probably is. So, well, we'll get some examples in a second. This is pretty simple. So let's do an example. Are you hungry? All right. Say yes, or I can say no. Right? Choose one. we'll put some check boxes on here just to be fun. Right? Right? Are you hungry? Right? What's up in grade school? right? Those are closed-ended questions. So open-ended question, we'll switch it up and say, hey, what do you have a taste for? And I love this question because you might not necessarily be hungry, but you know what? Really go for some tacos right now. It is Tuesday after all. Open-ended questions should be used for information. Okay? Closed confirmation. Okay? You can remember these two. You'll be doing great. You're on your track to asking better questions, and not just asking questions to make conversation, but with purpose. One of my favorite courses, not my favorite, honestly, wasn't even my best work, but it helped the most people, was Conversations into Clients. And in that course, we talked about asking better questions to guide a conversation and asking questions on purpose. And in there, 20% were closed and 80% of the questions were open. That was a ratio that I discovered quite by accident, by trial and error. Okay. I've tested everything that I teach. And honestly, a lot of these things I share are things I just documented over the years, right? There's things I needed to know years ago, hoping to help you get there a little faster, a little easier. So let's go back up here. Why are we asking these questions, right? That's a good question. That's a great question. Why are you asking these questions? Or you might say, where are you going with this? You have to have a plan. You have to have a destination. You have to have a strategy. And that's why I'm writing this book, is to help you create a strategy that consistently and predictably helps you grow your revenue and improve your customer retention. We can't do that on accident. Success happens on purpose. So asking questions with purpose. So there's two groups, there's two focus when in this book. There's always going to be internal side, and then there's going to be external. Okay, so internal are your teammates, external are your customers and future customers. And I just think of it, these folks are on payroll, these folks are paying you. Okay, that's the breakdown. So then, what do we want to discover? And I'll put a few here, but I'll probably save another video. This is one of my favorite questions. I'll put more questions, examples in the book, and maybe another video just for questions. So internally, I say, how can we duplicate success? That means if we have some rock stars, some A players, how do we help the rest of the team perform at a higher level? If we talk about externally, okay, we know that a happy customer is a repeat customer, is a promoter. So how do we help these customers, and then how do we help future clients be promoters? And so a simple question starts a line of thought. It starts some reasoning. It starts some problem solving. That's how we know they're good questions, right? So we don't want to just ask, hey, is this working? Yeah, it's working. Here's another set of questions that I enjoy. I want to document this, right? What did we do well? I want to document this so I can do it again on purpose. I can repeat it. What should we do more of? Sometimes there's things that are working, but we didn't realize they're working because we haven't asked the question. We haven't looked at it. And we'll notice something. These questions are really framed to the positive. So a lot of times we look at the negative, oh, what's wrong, what's not working. But if you spend more time doing this, you will, by default, spend less time doing things that aren't working. Like you just won't have the capacity. And that's where we start to duplicate success, repeat success on purpose. Okay, now, and here's the important question. This is a tough one because it's not necessarily something you're doing wrong. Maybe there's an activity. You put $1 and you get $5 out. Okay, that's something we should do more of. Something you should stop doing. Hey, we put $1 in and we get $1.25 out. Well, that's technically working. But we know if we spend more time here and less time here, the ultimate outcome, right, is increasing revenue, improving retention. That's the whole focus of this book. It's not to convince you to hire me. It's not to say, hey, you need some expensive software. You need to implement artificial intelligence. You need some complicated sales methodology. There may be time for all those things. Nice little background noise gives us some character. There may be time for all those things. But first of all, what can we maximize what we're already doing? That's the science of better questions. All right, so one last thing, and we'll wrap this up. Ask a full question and pause. This is essential. This is paramount to your success. And this is where I believe introverts are better at sales than extroverts. I did some research and found out a larger percentage of leaders, of billionaires, are introverts. That fascinated me. I don't know. You can do your own research on that. Here's what I know. When I was training, I was a sales trainer for a car sales company. I was concerned because they kept bringing me introverts. I'm like, man, these folks aren't going to do well. I'm an extrovert on any test, and unequivocally an extrovert. Okay, right? And so, real quick, the only difference. This is the only difference. Okay, introverts recharge alone or in intimate settings. So with people they trust and are connected with deeply, right? No surface level stuff, no small talk, right? Extroverts, with mine, extroverts. Now, here's the thing. Some introverts say, oh, I recharge around people, but if you pay close attention, it's probably people you know really well. Extroverts can recharge around strangers, okay? Now, why is this significant? There's 3 things I need you to understand about this. We're going to get back to asking questions. When I ran into extroverts with social anxiety, that means they love to go to parties. They did not want to talk to anyone. Talking to people, getting on stage gave them anxiety. But they love crowds. They love being in the midst of people. They love going to outings. And they come back fired up. I realized that your extroversion or introversion does not limit your ability to communicate or sell or interact with people. The challenge becomes, if I recharge around people, it's much easier for me to practice communication skills because it doesn't drain my emotional energy, my social battery. So I acknowledge that introverts will have a harder time Just because of how they were charged, spending time exercising certain skills, right? Interacting with other people. But that doesn't mean they can't, okay? We will not use this as an excuse. So there's two things, and this is so important. I know it's a detour, but we're gonna bring it full circle. So for leaders, means so let's talk about the corporate space real quick. So here's the question, right? How do we leverage our introverted teammates, right? How do we give them an environment for success? So for leaders, meetings have to have an agenda. You should be doing this anyway. And then present questions or input prior to the meeting. That means, hey, we are going to be asking you for these ideas, this input, this information. Here's what you need to be prepared with. No impromptu meetings. That's going to give our introverts the highest level of success chance. I don't want introverts to change. I want you to change how you do business to leverage your introverts for success. That's going to be the difference between a good business and a great business. And there's more, but I'll let the introverts tell you. I just got a book. It's called Quiet. Hold on, let me share it with you. Quiet. Oh, there it is. Nice. I just got this book yesterday. All right. I don't want introverts to talk more. I want you to listen more. And that's boom, full circle. I told you it would. That's why they ended up, every introvert that I trained ended up a President's Club award-winning sales rep faster than anyone else because of this one thing. Because it knew how to listen. Didn't have to do all the talking. Extroverts, I'm looking at you. If you can listen, you can sell. So what happens is people ask a question and then they answer it. I know I'm guilty of this, right? What you about to do? Go get something to eat? What do I do with that? How do I even respond? Ask the question, shut up. That's the strategy. You will have better conversations in your life, in your personal relationships, your romantic relationships, right? To strangers, in business, sales, and meetings, if you learn to ask questions, Michelle. So part of asking better questions isn't just what you ask, it's are you listening to the answer? Because I'll tell you this right now. If you learn to let people talk, you're going to get so much more information. You're going to have such a higher level of conversation. You're going to have a deeper depth of conversation. That's how we increase revenue, improve retention, by asking better questions and asking them more effectively. All right. My name is Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You, helping you do two things: increase revenue, improve retention. And we do that through personal professional development so that it's impactful in a lasting way. All right. Cheers.